Here goes, folks. The update video. It's been some time. In fact, it's been since February 28th, 2023, since the last time I made a video and had uploaded it to the YouTube channel that was an introduction to me going to Toronto Film School. I do apologize if it's a bit windy, but what can you do? I wanted to do it outside. Inside was too stuffy and too crowded. So I wanted to go to a park. So this is one of the few parks in the location I'm at. So I also have paper notes to keep me on track because I have potentially undiagnosed, and this is part of this whole situation, ADHD and spectrum of the autism. Again, not diagnosed. My brother has been diagnosed for ADHD, and being a twin, high chances that I am as well. And this may come into play at some point, but especially the top part, but I'll get into that when I get into it. I wanted to start off saying, it's a little off balance and there might be cuts and stuff. But I'm gonna try to make this one long video and do it that way, minimize all the editing because I got some shit to deal with. So I am in a contest right now for the Face of Horror. So I'm gonna start off with that because I need as many votes as I can if I'm gonna win it this time. Third year running, so everything that I mention that's worth going to see or do will be in the description below. So it'll all be there, including my Face of Horror, so don't worry about it. If you're curious about seeing something or checking something out, it'll be there. So first off, I'm going to start off with the one that I'm sure many people are interested in, and it's the drama. Or drama. So as soon as I was, okay, I'm gonna touch in on this. I really don't want to, but it needs to be said. Once it's said, I don't want to dip into it anymore. I will not be saying names. No one's going to be mentioned. They're going to be a hyperbole of theys and whatnots. So if anybody was curious or like, oh, I want to, not happening. Because once this is said and done, it's over with. I'm not dealing with it anymore. So I'm going to start off with the day that this all started. I got accepted into TFS and I went to this thing. I decided to make a group to try to get everybody connected. Basically, from that jump off, I've had people come after me. For what reason? I don't know. Could be a multitude of reasons. Could be ego, narcissism, because there was no need. I just wanted to make a group for everybody to go to, talk to, hang out, meet and greet, what have you. And off the rip, somebody was out for my head. It got worse from then on. So within the time that it started, there was a group counterpoint strictly made to insult, mock, and belittle other acting and students within the classes or in our term. No joke. I know who it was, I know who the people were in it, and I know some of the things that were said. I wasn't surprised. Every place I've ever worked, every school I've ever been to, every place had at least one person out from my head. And if it was just me, it would, okay. But the fact that they went after a group of people, they moved on from me to other people. But I'm sure it came back to me, as I've heard following later. So things that were said and hyperinflated and insinuated and assumed. And let me tell you, in 2024, assumptions and accusations are just as detrimental and as harsh as if they were true, even if they aren't. So you just criticizing and making these blames is like damning me immediately. So there's a few things that I'm gonna mention that immediately fucking pissed me off. Yes, I'm gonna swear. I'm not a PG, I'm not keeping this child, like for the kids. This is for adults or people who can handle some verbiage. Okay, so some things that were claimed to me almost off-ripped was that I'm a racist, that I am prejudiced. Somebody accused me of being a liar and a misleader because I didn't have a religious following. Somebody called me misogynistic, tendencies, isms, whatever the case may be. Anything and everything that could be said was said and portrayed. Somebody called me a creep. Situations that I knew of that I did by accident, I called out. They didn't know or say anything. I called out and I said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And I got it's okay, it was an accident, I get it, blah, blah, blah. And I went, okay, good, because with the ADHD and the potential tisms, I have humongous social anxiety. The last thing I want to do is hurt. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to disrespect anyone who clearly doesn't deserve it. I don't want to ruin somebody's time. I'd much rather make myself as small as possible off to the side, which is funny to be a wannabe actor where I need to put myself out there, but that's my thing. I don't want to become a big issue in somebody's life, yet no matter how small and how tedious and whatever, I am somebody's issue because somebody wants to hate somebody or dislike somebody just for the sake of it. I don't get it. I cannot like somebody and then that's where it ends. I'll ignore it. I'll move on. I could get along with them even if I don't like them because they're not going to be in my life. I don't need them in my life. And that being said, everybody who I've heard some negativity from that may have said some things about me, I have since deleted, blocked, and straight up wiped from all my social medias. My Instagrams, my Snaps, my whatever the hell, whatever the case may be. Because I'm just not going to deal with it. I could be petty. I could go and talk and do some bullshit like everybody else, but that isn't me. I'd much rather this die in the dust now. I just don't care for it. So I'm not going to mention names. I'm not going to mention who said what. If somebody finds this video, which is going to be strange because I've removed all of you, but if you find this video and you find out that you're one of these folks and you figure somebody may have misguided me about you and you want to make things up, you'll find a way. Otherwise, tough titties, I guess. From this point on, I don't want to be talking about this. Not my problem. Not my issue. I'm not around you guys anymore. I don't want to hear it. If I do hear it, there are going to have to be some consequences. I've even heard that there was talks about taking this to the school board. For what? Because the ideas and stuffs were assumptions. Assumptions make an ass of you and me. Don't be making assumptions. Don't be making up bullshit. If you have a social issue where you're afraid to be picked on or knocked down the social ladder, I don't know. Don't fucking drag other people down. That's so fucking bullshit. Fuck. There was a fair amount of people that I thought these guys were my friends, and they clearly weren't. Now, to my friends who are still acquaintances with these people, don't worry about it. I'm not one of those people, well, if you're going to be friends with them, you can't be... Look, they're not meant for me. Okay, clearly they didn't have my best interest at heart, so I'm not going to have them in my life. They might be way kinder, way nicer to you, might be able to do something about it. It's fine. I'm not going to say don't. That's bullshit. I don't give a shit. Be as you are. Okay, so that's it. It's the drama. I got accused of and told that I was this, or other people telling other people that I was this and that. Don't ever fucking do that again, by the way. This isn't a joke. This character assassination isn't going to continue. If you guys want to stop, just stop it. Don't be like that. And a lot of these folks are younger. Maybe it comes with the attitude from high school, but I'm not there. It's not me. Not fucking happening. We're moving on. Okay? So now, that's done. Now I got a sheet of stuff that I do want to talk about. Chronological order? No. Is this going to be edited well? No. But it is what I got, and it's an update, and it's something I procrastinated about for at least a year. By the way, yeah, like I mentioned, February 28th, 2023. I was still in Winnipeg. I still had the 2-bedroom apartment for $10.50 a month. I was still working at Herd. It is what it is. Okay. So, all right. Actually, with the situation, there are a couple of people are part of this following topic. But again, I'm not going to name names. Even the friends, even the people that I like, I'm not even going to mention their names. I didn't ask if they'd be cool if I mentioned them. There are projects that I will be linking that are theirs, but I'm not going to mention their names because I don't want the potential that the people who don't like me end up talking shit about them. Because don't. Okay, so homie, don't play that. So what I'm going to talk about now is the living situation since I've moved. So shortly at that time, talking June of 2023, I moved out here to Ontario. That's where I am. I couldn't mention the little town I'm in, but that's Ananya. So I moved out and I stayed with my brother and my nephews and his lady for 3-4 months. 3 of those 4 months I was in school. It was a Zoom. I stayed in the basement on a cot, almost no different than what's happening now, which I'll get to later. But I stayed on their cot. I did the classes online. I'll talk about more of that later. Then from there, I moved into Toronto. I rented an Airbnb with a few folks, 3 other folks. I ended up sleeping on a cot, no, a pull-out bed. First night was on a bed, but the place had no airflow. It was hot as shit. And anybody who knows me knows I can't sleep hot. I need to be cold. Probably because I used to sleep in a basement all the time. But I need it cooler than what it had, and I didn't have a personal fan. So I ended up exchanging it with another person I was renting with, and I slept on the couch. The Airbnb was a little run down, like it wasn't upkept, it was very narrow. It wasn't bad though. It was kind of cool for the destination. It was off the harbor of Toronto, and the scenery was really cool because it was like a gated community hallway, and it was really close, and it was vibey. I kind of dug it. I wish it wasn't so cold or chilly. It doesn't get as cold as Winnipeg, but the wind and the moisture and stuff can cut through clothes, and it gets a little nippy. I did spend some time outside at that time because I ended up walking to school. I couldn't take public transit, and I'll get into that later. So I ended up walking to school. It was an hour and something one way, and then an hour and something obviously back. And I did that every morning. So whatever time class started, I had to wake up earlier to get ready and then leave for the hour walk. I walked a lot, I'll tell you that. I walked a lot, and I enjoy walks. And you'll see throughout my social medias me walking about. It's what I do. I'm nomadic that way. But this place was interesting. I wish I had photos of what it looked like, not where it is and stuff, because I don't need to deal with them. But it wasn't bad. From there, I ended up moving further into the city. I ended up staying at a student's place. Me and another person who was renting the Airbnb with me. The other two people left. They took a hiatus. But me and the other folk ended up staying at another student's place on their couch at the time, another pull-out couch at the time. Stayed there for a few months. Now keep in mind, all this happened in 9 months. So within these 9 months, I'm telling you all the places I stayed and all the things I had to go through with that. I stayed on the couch. It was cozier because it felt more lived in, but it was definitely smaller. And again, like I say, I don't like getting in people's ways. And anytime I stayed at another person's abode, I tried to shrink myself down. I didn't want to become an issue for them in their life and what was going on for them. So I tried to stay small and out of the way and help out where I could. But that was that. I enjoyed that place. From that one, I ended up talking to another student. With the other students, I ended up going to their place, which was another part of Toronto. That was interesting because that place was more of the party house, I guess you could say. They had people over almost every weekend or nearly every day. Again, I felt I was intruding, which I was let to know that I was in the way later on. But at the time, again, stayed on their couch for a few weeks, I think. And then an occurrence happened at one of the parties and I just couldn't sleep on the couch anymore. And I felt really guilty and I was hating myself, as is a common theme with me, which got on people's nerves, which then they told me, which then made me feel worse. And it was a circle of self-hate. But I ended up choosing to sleep in their storage closet, which was more or less supposed to be where a washer and dryer was supposed to be, but they had it removed. I believe that's what it was, or a freezer, like a stand-in freezer. So I stayed in there. So you think of a room that is not wider than this. Basically, this was the room. And even still, I was like this because the luggage was in there. My luggage and somebody else's luggage was in there. And the room wasn't even my length. I'm not super tall. But even when I laid down, I had to curl in my legs and feet. So in this room that was maybe 3 feet wide, maybe. Of course, minus from the luggage. And then lengthwise, maybe 5'11", not very long, right? There's also a lip cut out. Anyways, I stayed in there, had no blankets, no windows, so no airflow. I had to crack the door just a bit, and again, no airflow. I overheat. A lot of the time I woke up in a fucking sweat. It was not pleasant for me, but anything I would do to be able to appreciate what they're doing for me without being a burden for them. Still didn't change it. I was still a burden. I can't say anything about that. I tried not to be, but I was. There was some other things. There was more drama. Has nothing to do with me per se. I don't think it would be me, but there was always drama with someone somewhere at some point. I know it's acting, art school, drama comes with the gig. I just don't need it. And I don't think as much drama would have happened, no offense, with older folks. A lot of older folks would have just been over it. Would have been, yes, no, fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? But there it was. From there, after I think the term was over, or something happened. I think that was term 2, the end of term 2. So term 1 in the basement, term 2, 2 students' places. Come term 3, I believe this was, I got a hostel. I think that's the situation. I don't know the time frames. It's mostly a blur of chaos. I didn't feel good at any point during this whole time. I still don't exactly feel good or settled or any of that. I don't feel welcomed anymore, anywhere. This is not just here, it's anywhere I go. I feel like I'm a burden, I'm in a way, so I try to, again, make myself small, stay out of it, but. So I stayed at this hostel at another part of Toronto, which was like 45-minute walk away from school, which was kind of cool because it would walk through, like, it's Oxford College or University. I'm blanking on the names, but there's other schools along the way. So I got to see people who were younger, and it was just a different vibe than it was at the other places, because the other places were closer to, I want to say, the chaos. This is like where more of the homeless was, or the groups of people who are a little more me. And I'll get into my thoughts about Toronto. They're in here. In this place, the room had 3 bunk beds. No real airflow because there's no doors open, but there was an AC unit that was or wasn't on. And because I'm Canadian and these people weren't, or some of these people weren't used to the cold, they turned off the AC because they can't add more blankets, which you could, but I can't take off more clothes when I'm down to my skivvies. Like, I can't remove flesh, all right? You could always add, you can't always subtract. So that was something. And then the smell. Okay, so you would assume that these places stunk. Yes and no. So sometimes I would come into the room because it was a key lock, whatever. You go in the room and it smells like socks. That's the worst that it smelled like, was socks. So somebody was out walking around nonstop, doing whatever, and just didn't change their shit or wash their stuff. And it smelled like socks a lot. Come on. I found a way. Come on, guys. But I did meet some people. The area was also a bit interesting. So I walked through where like other colleges were to get to and from school, but where I was a bit artsy, but also lower in status. It's hard to, I don't know, I don't want to offend people, but there was a neighborhood of all types of ethnic foods and stuff. There was this alleyway of clothes and ethnic foods and stuff, and I thought it was really cool. I ate there a lot at different places. I tried to eat at different places as much as possible while I was out there, but the best place that I found was actually right next door. A place that felt like it was open all the time. The Wi-Fi was way better than the hostel I was at, and it served alcohol. I did a class there, actually. I'd walk home, go into there, go onto Zoom, take my class, eat some food, and, you know, it's a restaurant. I'm taking that chance. So I did it, and that was cool. it was a weird vibe, to say the least. I don't have the words for it, but it was different. It wasn't so static and like head forward. So, and after that, that was the end of term 3 on all the places I stayed at. And by the end of term 3, I moved back here. So I stayed at 4, 5 places. I don't know, you do the math. I don't want to. So talks on that. Let's see what the papers have next. Okay, now let's talk about the classes. I got classes, terms, and the teachers who taught them. I'll talk about a little bit what I thought about the class, the term itself, and the teachers who taught it. So this should be fun and exciting. This might be more important to other students, other people coming along. May be interesting to the teachers if they're curious of what I thought. And I'm gonna preference this. It might sound like I'm sucking up or something, but I'm not. I actually liked my teachers, all in different ways, but I liked them. So let's go about dealing with this. In term 1, all right, let's have this. Acting 1. So acting in this case is more like theater acting. That's what these classes were more or less about. Or, I mean, we did do scenes that wasn't theater or things like that, but it was a different type of acting. It was acting, but not focused on camera angles and all the camera aspects. So this class was taught by Jonathan Higgins. You could Google him. He's done quite a bit of things. Jonathan Higgins. That was a fun class because he kept it chill. It wasn't like so demanding. He would encourage. The whole time he was constantly like encouraging, like, yeah, do it. Yeah, no, go ahead. And which was a freedom I didn't think I was to expect. And I'm still learning how much of the acting aspect that I can do. I always worry that I'm gonna overstep the work or overstep the acting or something, and I don't know how I should be doing it. It's my overthinking aspect, and overthinking, holy moly, comes into play a lot in my schooling. Overthinking comes with the ADHD and the possible autism and my I want to say self-hate, but I'm working on it. I've actually been starting to feel better, so. Yeah, we did a few scenes, but it was all over Zoom. So all these next few classes for term 1 were on Zoom. So it felt disconnected because I didn't feel like he was totally sensing it, but to be fair, it's Zoom and I'm not in there in person and I'm learning. The not sensing aspect comes with everything. Over Zoom, it didn't feel real. I felt like I was paying for fake classes. That's a preference. I don't know how other people felt, but I would have much rather have done term 1 in person. I feel like I would have gotten way more out of it, but I couldn't find housing at the time. Kind of good that I didn't, because I also didn't have money by the end of term 3, and I still fighting for that, and I'll talk more about that later. Okay, so in second class, camera acting 1 with Jonathan Cherry and Bradley Brooks. Oh, and if I say any teachers' names wrong, or like teachers' assistants or whomever's names wrong, I apologize. I don't mean to. I tried to recall everything and everyone, and even still, even in my notes, I'm drawing blanks. So I do apologize. But there's 2 teachers that had me nervous while I was in their class. And one of them was Jonathan Cherry. Search him up on IMDb and Millennials. He's kind of a big deal in a certain circle. Final Destination and A Truck of Logs. Just do some Googling, you'll figure out who Jonathan Cherry is in that regard. So when I was with him in his class, he was one of the teachers that intimidated me because I couldn't read him, and I'm not too good at reading people in the first place, but I felt like he was sterner, which I actually like. I like when teachers are stern and focused, because if I start to fall off or even beat myself up, they are quick to be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, come on, man, believe in yourself. Or, hey, no, this is what you need to focus on. So I know what I'm doing wrong, and then they'll tell me how to fix it. And I kind of need that with all my worries and overthinking. I need somebody to keep me on the narrow. So Jonathan Cherry was one of those folks. I'll have footage right here somewhere for a couple of these classes showing what I recorded. All the camera acting, I think I have footage for. All the other classes, unlikely. Term 3, I'll have 2 classes worth of footage, but for now, take this. Bradley Brooks, he's funny. He was fun addition because when we couldn't go and ask Jonathan, Mr. Cherry, whatever, hey, I got a question. Bradley was there. He was helpful as all hell too. And he would constantly keep us laughing or whatever the case may be. He's a jokester. I got to meet him in term 2, so it was nice to actually see him in person. I didn't meet Jonathan in person until term 3. But it was cool. Kept me guided, kept me grounded, kept asking for more. Give me more. I did a scene from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and he was like, get angry, get angrier. The angrier you get, the funnier it is. Get angry. And I was trying to figure out, does it come off as a joke with what I'm saying? He'll laugh every so often, and I'm like, he found it. I guess I should not get so into my head. So he had to deal with a lot of my and it continued on, but it came lesser and lesser and lesser. Still there, but you know. Now moving on to film history with James Bond. I know, ha ha ha. I'm sure he gets it all the fucking time. He was chill, relaxed. It was cool to see the process. Like, I'm sure I could have done the research and I knew some of it going into it, but he showed the history of where the filming started, how it progressed, who progressed it, who helped progress it, and we got into that further along. It was cool because we ended up seeing videos of a YouTuber. It's not his videos, I don't think, but he goes by Wheezy Waiter on another channel. I was he's old school YouTube from what I call him and a few others, so it was cool to see him. James, another chill guy. It wasn't a class to sweat about. It was pretty relaxing, pretty straightforward. It was pretty hard to fuck that one up. I mean, come on. Class to follow was movement. Now, I'm gonna say her name, Uche Ama. I apologize if I got your last name wrong, but okay, movement was the first time I had to go with the fuck-its. And what the fuck-its were was me super embarrassed about movement, right? I don't want to move, I'm not good with my body. and she had me breaking out a character doing movements, and I had to go, okay, fuck it, and then do it. I had to get out of my head. I had to just do it, and just doing it, fuck it, and get it over with. And so all the movement classes had me doing the fuck it's. But Uche's class was the first time. Her class was a challenge because it was the most physical out of all my classes. Holy fuck. And actually I appreciate that. I needed it. The wind's picking up. Okay, so I wasn't flexible before. I had a lot of physical pain. I'm still in physical pain, but because of it, I refused to move. With her classes and the exercises that we had to do and challenges with those aspects, I could touch my toes. Couldn't do that before. I do that regularly now. I don't keep up the exercises, but I should. They were a challenge. They felt good after. I felt better, although during the time I was like, fuck, don't want to fucking do this. But that's the point. Doing the things you wouldn't normally do. Break out of those shells. Try something, right? So, thank you, Uche, for the push, the drive, and the fun in the class, because I thought it was kind of fun, even though the activity of it was a fucking challenge. So, thank you. Performance. I believe that's performance history with Mark Brownell. I hope I said your last name properly with that. So performance history, that's more talks about theatrical and stuff like that nature. Like you had to, we talked about a lot of the history in that class, in those classes, because I have Mark later on, and it's all basically the history of performance. Who did it, what it was like, and then we also had to do our own routines, which was like rhythmic stuff, but Zoom was a fucking nightmare for this class. We had to figure out backgrounds, trying to time delays in our webcams. I'll tell you, like, this shouldn't be a class on Zoom. And it's not Brownell's fault. It's just the fact that you're supposed to do things in rhythm and together and unison, and it just felt so removed. Not his fault, just something that should be more in person. But it should still be term one. Because doing this later on is just, feels like it's in the way. Mark was a cool guy. Another serious guy, but he wasn't in the intimidation, because it was serious when we had to be serious. Like, and when the class started to act up, he was like, hello. So yeah, and when people were talking during other people's performances, shut the fuck up. That's basically what he went on about. Great teacher, good times. I had him again in person. I'd like his classes in person better. That's just me. Voice 1 with Peter Van Wart. Again, I hope I didn't screw that up, but that was voice. Was manipulation of the voice and control of the voice. Projecting your voice. Being able to control it in a rhythmic, because we ended up doing Shakespeare stuff, and you had to talk from here, and you had to focus and talk from the chest, and this helped a lot because I could feel it here instead of talking up here, which I think I typically do. So talking here and projecting yourself from here was a lot of his classes, both in person, which I had, and in Zoom. Again, another class that I felt like digital aspect was a bit shaky. I don't like Zoom. If you can, go in person for all your terms. Don't do Zoom. Some people liked it. I hated it. Felt fake. Like, I felt like I could have YouTubed it. That's not right. That's not how it should be. So it felt like I was paying in-person prices for less of the experience. Bit of a joke, but it was done. For shits and giggles, I'll tell you my GPA for art school for that term was a 4.3. I think it was high, and it turns out what I'm thinking was right later on. All the teachers may have been giving students a higher grade than what they should have been getting. And in term one, I think I got a 4.3 just because it was an encouraging. It was term one. I don't know shit. They knew I didn't know shit. I got called out a lot, and I appreciate it. I'd rather called out and told how to fix it than not. And them going like, yeah, that was bullshit. He sucks. Like, tell me what's wrong. Let me know. Help me fix it. That's what I was paying for. But I felt like they were being very nice. So thank you. Thanks for the encouragement. But if I was doing wrong, you could also tell me. I'm a big boy. I get told I'm wrong all the time. A lot of people think I'm always right. Incorrect. I always think I'm always wrong. So that's term one. Term two. Let's start from the top. Acting 2 with Catherine McNally. Now, I had two teachers that I was nervous about being in their class and how they presented themselves, both in a very good way. This teacher, however, I didn't get the nervous aspect, but I got disappointment. I have the utmost disappointment in myself for what I gave this teacher. I have so much shame, and I feel so bad that I couldn't give what I wanted to this teacher. Term 2, I felt like I didn't do it, and then term 3, when I thought I could make it up, I fucking failed again. And I really hope to one day make Catherine proud and happy with being her student. Right now, not so much. Side note, she just did a movie. She's in that Apprentice movie, so go take a look. Go check her work out. Anyways, this class was more or less plays. I think we did 2. First half, second half. I feel like I failed in both, but by the second one was better than the first, because the first one, when we finally came down to showtime, we stumbled and we gave up. I feel so embarrassed that even happened, but unfortunately, the way I do my stuff, I do also think about the words and stuff, but if somebody else fucks up theirs, I stumble and I forget my words. And that's not good. That's not what you need in acting. You should be able to know your lines, know your character, know your person. So even if somebody stumbles, you're like, I got this. We'll pick it up from here and then carry it on. Still working on that. This isn't improv. And in improv, kind of like what I'm doing right now, I could ramble. I can make shit up. I could do whatever I want to do. However, in a script, I'm so worried about fucking up a character or the lines that I think too much about it. So when it does happen, I don't know what to do. It's a huge flaw. At least one that I don't like and I want to work on in the future. And by term 3, I felt like I got a better hang of it. But again, when I get to it, I failed. I failed again. Right in front of her, she was there. It's not like I just failed. She showed up and I failed in front of her. So, Catherine, if you see this, I will try to make it up to you. I will try to be a student that you're proud of at some point. Hopefully, if things work out. I don't know how the future is. I'll talk more about my thoughts later on, but hoping to fix that up. She's another nice teacher, but stern when she needs to be. Like, we had a joke, I think at some point, that if we gave chocolates, could we get extra points? Then she kind of, haha. So I went to the dollar store, me and another student, again, I won't be naming names, got a bunch of cheap chocolate and handed it out to students, and then at the end of their play or whatever, supposed to walk over and give the chocolate, be like, right? That was a joke. It kind of went on too long during the class that it kind of died out, but it was funny. I thought it was funny. I thought it would be good, and it happened. So there it is. Camera acting 2 with, oh no, sorry. Yeah. Camera acting 2 with Julia Paton. I hope I got your name right. That was the other class where Bradley Brooks was in. So I got to meet Bradley in person, term 2, for camera acting. That's when we started to work on cheating the camera, right? So you could see, but still look like I'm talking to somebody, right? Whatever the case may be. That was cool. That's what I wanted to learn, shit like that. Different roles. We did comedy, which was interesting. As much as I love comedy, I don't think I should be in comedy. I don't think my timing is correct, or my joke points are any good. Pretty sure I hit the shit the fan on that one, but class was fun. I don't think there was too much of an issue. Goofed around, of course we did. Bradley was there, but we got shit done. I started to feel comfortable in front of a camera. Typically, in this sense, I don't want to be seen. It's weird for somebody who wants to be an actor not to be seen. If I'm seen as myself, it's hard. But if I'm seen as supposedly somebody else, as in a character, it's a little more easy because it's not me, so then I'm not judged for being me. I'm sure people out there get what I'm talking about. But I started to have to just feel comfortable. The fuck it's from term 1 did help. Just, the fuck it's is necessary for my case, in every class, for everything. And I noticed that I'm looking around, it's me catching thoughts. So if I'm looking around, I'm just catching thoughts. Moving on to, again, hold on, we'll go back. That class was great. Teacher's great. It was fun. Blanking on actual moments, but it felt good. Again, a in-person class feels way better. I couldn't, if I had to do another class on Zoom, oh boy. Okay, moving on. Movement 2 with Kelly Fanson. If I get your name wrong, I do apologize if you see this. Movement 2 with Kelly. That one, she's okay. Woo, Kelly, you know what you want, and you will get what you want. And I had no problem with that. I tried my best to give you exactly what you wanted, because that's what you were looking for. If I gave you what you were looking for, I didn't have to think too much, which helped me. At one point, the most embarrassing point, to be honest, even though we had to secretly follow people or a person, get characteristics and try to portray ourselves as them, was the animal thing. I chose a sloth because if you know me, it's kind of on the nose. But that, because I had to move slowly in front of everybody and make noise, I felt the most embarrassed about that. But got the fuck it's. No one gives a shit when everybody's doing it and everybody feels awkward. It's kind of easy to blend in because Everybody else is just the same as you. But when I got things right, she let me know. The letting me know when I actually nail things helps me move forward. If I'm doing something right and people go, well, let me know, because you'll tell me when I fuck up. Can I know when I'm doing well? I go around thinking I'm a fuck up all the time. I don't need to know I fucked up when I know I fuck up all the time. And if I do fuck up and you do call me out, don't go, you fucked up. Like, give me criticism in creative aspect. Let me know how I can improve or fix it. Don't just shit on me and fuck off. Like, I don't need that. I got enough of that. It's all up here. Kelly, some people were nervous about your class, found your class rough. I didn't so much. I just needed to make sure I had my paperwork when I needed it to do it when it was asked. I failed, I think, a few times with that, and so did other people. But when you did it, it was done. Now on to performance history. Yeah, see, it was performance history with Mark again. In person, way better. He's an in-person character. It was just fun to talk to him. He had questions, nailed it, got onto it. He was there in person, so you could feed off of him. So if we were doing a comedy or a whatever skit, you could kind of work off what it was. Again, another teacher, serious when he needs to be, funny and having fun the other times, but expects you to do your work. I mean, they all do. But and the work isn't entirely tough. So when you're not doing what he's asking, he's like, what the fuck was that? I asked for this, and you guys gave me that. Or if we gave him something that we thought was okay, he'll let us know. He's like, oh, you know what? That's this. Or it wasn't what I was expecting, but it was good. So that was cool. Yes, another in-person, much better class. Great teacher, funny, fun, what have you. Moving on to Voice 2 with Peter again. Got to meet him in person now. And we still started the class with our dance. So he'd play music and we'd have to follow him. Whatever he did, we'd have to mirror. And then everybody tried to predict what he would do. And then he would do something else. Or the music choices he would choose. Sometimes we're like, really? That's what you're choosing? Okay. But that class was Shakespeare. Taught us to kind of read it, to work on it, to how to talk for it. Much better in person because he let you know and how to talk and project. Because he can now hear way better. I have to admit, not Peter's fault, but I'm not so very keen on Shakespeare. I can barely speak English Canadian in 2024. To then speak English broken of that time, which even people of that time didn't fully comprehend. And I know people are like, yeah, I've seen documents that they were like, well, they got the gist and it made sense to a point, but it was still broken. It wasn't completely how they talked from said time. So, and he made up words or whatever the case may be. So, but I struggled. I didn't want to do Shakespeare stuff after that, and that will come in later, but I digress. Thank you, Peter. It was a good time. Had fun with you being the actual teacher. And the class was great. Hope I did it well enough that you were just felt justified that I didn't do and waste your time or anything. Moving on, we had writing for actors. This is one of those classes that is more or less an off branch. We got to flex our creative muscles instead of a linear read the words, act the words. This was make the words, learn how these scripts are made and who you're writing it for and who your audience is and all that jazz. This was pretty interesting because I have images in my head. This is one of the reasons I'm an actor. My brain is constantly flickering and moving and creating shit, and I have had ideas and created a world since I was a kid, and this is the time where I can make it up and show it. So I wrote a couple of spooky stuff. Surprise, surprise, it's what my brain goes to, it's what I like. She liked it. The class seemed to be cool with it. It actually got some of their creative minds going from my work, which is great. That's why I like to do this stuff. That's why I like to create, to have people enjoy it and work from it. She was a teacher who was consistently happy about nearly everything. I don't know if it's impossible to upset her. It felt like she just loved every minute of every day of every class. It was nervous to let her down because you wouldn't want to be that one person. She was like, the fuck was that? You coming in with that garbage? What the shit was that? Doesn't exist. It was, I want to say it's Simeon, who I'll talk about later, had jokes about her or whatever, because he was a student too, and she was always like that with her. So he would make jokes like, oh, why are you always mad? Why are you angry? And I believe it was about Glenda. Glenda MacFarlene. Did I say her name? I'm sorry, Glenda. But that was writing for actors for term 2. And last but not least, this was supposed to be a term 1 thing, but we were on Zoom, so you couldn't learn this properly. But it was basic cameras. I believe it was basic cameras. I forget the name. I just wrote basic cameras. It's to learn how to work the speed, the ISO, handling it, reformatting the memory cards. It's basically what I do on this phone camera. Yes, I'm using a phone. It has a professional video option, and I can adjust the speeds, the ISOs, the white balance, the focus, etc., etc. This is basically that. I also kind of knew a lot of this going into it because my earlier interest in cameras, but it was helpful to have somebody be like, right, or figure out what the I don't know if you guys ever see it. I even have it now, the 3x3 squares, the center, the right, the left, right, and how to use that. And he would ask like which shot to go at, full body, what, blah blah blah, and we'd do it. So that was cool, and I learned some stuff. I have everything from almost every class that was handed out with me still. I saved it all, especially the internet stuff. It's all saved away. I'm archiving it all. So I have every note that I took through his class in a little book. I was gonna write these in there, but it took up the whole entire book with the amount of notes we had to take for that class with subjects and topics that I kind of already knew. But you couldn't rent out a camera for term 3 without doing this class. So good class. Trenton, oh my god, did I say your name yet? Trenton Hawkins. Trenton? Trent? Hope I got your entire name right. I actually thought I wrote down everybody's names and I didn't. So I hope I got your full name correct and right, and if I didn't, my bad, man, my bad. I believe he was another student turned teacher, or is now becoming a teacher, but he was a teacher's assistant. I don't remember. In any case, he's a big dog now. Really cool guy, really chill guy. Great class, great teacher, fun times. That's it for term 2. That took 3 months. Had to do all that within 3 months. During that time, okay, so my GPA for that dropped down to a 4.2. It should. I shouldn't be sitting comfortably just because teachers are kind. The classes should be getting more challenging and more troublesome. And with my fucking failure in acting with Catherine, I needed to come down, right? Okay, last 3 months of TFS. Term 3 consisted of acting 3 with Jonathan Higgins in person. Hey, got to meet him in person. Cheerful, came into class ready. He's like, all right guys, let's do this. Another theater acting. He gave our class one of the most daunting tasks. And you know how before I said I didn't want to do Shakespeare? He comes into class, he's like, so I'm thinking, I think we should do Julius Caesar. And I went, fuck! Because the class, just coming into it, I was like, I really hope I don't have to do any more Shakespeare. And he comes in with Julius Caesar, and I went, shit. Sorry, Jonathan. I really didn't want to do Shakespeare. But not my choice, not my option. Had to do my best anyways. But he didn't want us to do just Julius Caesar. He wanted us to do a spin on it. So not only did we have to learn the play, learn what it means in English, like modern day English, we had to shorten the script, rewrite the script, and then learn those lines, and then build the set. No offense to the other students in our class, but the weight wasn't carried evenly. I wouldn't say it was like I carried it all. I don't think so at all. But there was a few figureheads in the class. 4 or 5 figureheads in the class that probably did the majority of the work, be it costume, set, where like the rewrite of the script to positions where everybody should be, lighting, which is what I took over, which is where I'll say, okay, so as we went through all this, buying it, writing it, oh, it was hell. I have hours of footage trying to record it to get an idea of how it should look, and helped the, I didn't rewrite the script at all. That's basically 2 or 3 other people rewrote the script, rewrote it, rewrote it, made sure everybody had lines, and just kept the 3 other people, 2 of them I could think of, but I think there was a third. Holy fuck, did they carry the majority of the weight. And I'd say they did a great job with the amount of time we had to the execution of it. Not skipping down to the end, this is the class that I failed. Like, I let down Catherine in this class. I focused on the lights, getting the lights to work, the set to look, the settings to look a certain way, that my bit of words, because I asked for a small bit of words, I couldn't remember. I go out on stage and I go, line. I know people do it, but I already hated myself for letting her down before. Now to do it again in front of her, and the lines weren't hard. It wasn't like they asked me to do a whole paragraph. There were other students who had to do full ass paragraphs, and I had to do a few lines, and yes sir, right over here. It was horrible. Oh, so Catherine, I do apologize. Jonathan, I apologize. I had to focus on the lighting. I'll tell you my grief, what really threw me off is I had to focus on the lighting, figuring out the tree. This is for this school too. I had to write up a guide on how this tree worked, because it was convoluted in their guide and didn't explain some of the nuances very well, and I hope I did. Not only did I have to set this up and create and go through the play and write what switches at what time, the guy who ran the lights never saw the play, was never there during any of the things. So when he showed up, he's like, and he was hitting switches. So a scene which was supposed to be dark and gradually fade up, he was like, I was like, holy don't blame the kid. He did what he could, but the situation sucked. And so I was sitting there doing the lines, and he went, and my brain went with it. My words went with it. Didn't know what the fuck to do. Lost all my words, lost my lines, lost my position. Was not satisfied with the ending. Again, to the class, to Jonathan, to Kath, I'm sorry guys. I'm sorry on my part. If you don't care, that's great. I just still feel like I dropped the ball. Some of you guys already know I said this a million times. So anyways, let's move on. Camera acting 3 with Ingrid, Hart. And we had 2 TAs, I think they're called, which was Trenton, Hawkins, the one who taught us basic cameras, as well as Sydney Daley? I'm so sorry, Sydney. Again, I thought I wrote your name down, or I thought I could find it. I didn't. I don't know why I didn't, but everybody was awesome. Now, moving on, not moving on, the teacher I said that I was worried about and intimidated me, Ingrid Hart was the other one. So where Jonathan Cherry was term 1, Ingrid Hart come term 3 was intimidating. It felt incredibly professional in this, like, focused, professional. But I like that, because if I fucked up, immediately called me up. Just did it. And she didn't do it in a belittling way, which is probably my problem with a lot of people. They talk down. Don't talk down to me. Talk to me as an equal who needs help. Okay? I don't mean to fuck up, or I don't mean to not give you something. Guide me. I'm a student for a reason, okay? So Ingrid Hart was one of the people who had me like, I don't want to get on her bad side, which I don't think I did. I had fun in that class. I really did. The footage here is probably going to be the most footage I have. Was a great time. I didn't worry too much about things. Oh yeah, so a lot of the clothes I ended up buying while at school was because of her class. You arrived to set with the clothes that you were expected to wear. I don't have a whole lot of clothes. I'm not a clothes guy. Like, I'm not a stylish guy. I have comfortable clothes, clothes I'm used to, clothes that I'm always wearing, and I'll buy multiples of it, by the way, and I'll wear it. It's just how I am, but that's not the way shit goes. I need wardrobe. So now I have hangers upon hangers upon hangers of clothes. And I say hangers, it's still not that much, but it's more than I had. Of clothes strictly aimed for this is set production clothes. Okay? Don't touch it. You're gonna stain it with your armpits because deodorant. You're gonna tear it. You're gonna put holes in it. You're gonna, whatever the case may be. So it is set off to the side strictly for that. Still learning. If there's actors out there who happen to stumble across this hour-long video and get to this point and you guys see me rambling on about clothes and you're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Like, you don't need that. I'm learning, guys. I'm learning. I'm trying my best. I don't know things, and I don't pretend to know things. But it is what it is. What can I say? We did. What was really cool about this too is we had 3 scenes. 3 scenes we had to work out from movies that are kind of known. Some people didn't know certain movies, so they had to watch it. The movie I was put in was Hangover. Hangover 1. Love it. Interrupted by geese and loud vehicles with mufflers who are too big because their dinks are too small. Anyways, we had to do the Hangover, so it was cool to be on the scenes and recreate the scenes the best we could in the classroom, which at some point you're probably seeing right now. It was funny, the make-believe of there's a baby or there's a tiger or whatever. The part that really fucked me up, which I don't know why, was the 3rd scene that we had to do, which is the 3rd scene in order, was the scene after the guy jumps out of the trunk and beats everybody up. So we had to pretend that we and I was going so hard with the exhales and stuff that I was getting lightheaded. So after every take we would do, I'd be like, hold on. I was just forcing the air out of me. I got people behind me right now, so enjoy. So that was fun, but I was also allowed to play in another scene for somebody else who didn't have a solid person. That scene was one of the scenes from Hitch. That was an intriguing scene. Also fun, unique, a little more serious because it was kind of a serious moment, emotional. I don't think I hit it as well as I was hoping. I'm sure I didn't, considering getting in touch with my emotions is kind of new. I've spent so many years trying to lock it up that finally I'm in a school that's like, show us your emotions, show us who you are, show it. And I'm like, ooh, that's new for me. So that was interesting. Yeah, just to practice it. Because I'm grabbing things as I'm remembering them. We got to learn more with stuff like the boom mic. That's cool. I've always wanted to see what it was like to hold the mic and where it's supposed to be held and where they're using it. As well as we had to play roles where, so we had to do our scenes, but we also had to play crew. So gaffing and boom mic and stuff and laying down the tape for marks. So people would have to hit their marks and be like, hey, tape here, this is where the actors have to hit the mark. That's fun. I like the behind the scenes. That's why I'm in this school, or why I was taking school, is to learn that stuff. I like to know how this stuff is made and what it takes and what people are doing and what it sounds like, what it looks like. I'll touch more on kind of on that aspect at the end, because there is a request that I would have liked from TFS, but that's all I got for now. There is more as a whole, but my brain's drawing up blanks. So movement 3 with Christel Bartelse, I believe. Christel, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I may have fucked up your name. But basically, this class was clown class. So this was, again, since it's movement, I had to work with the fuckets. I do apologize to the father and daughter who just strolled on by there. This class, we had to break out of ourselves, and breaking the comfort zone felt like what this was mostly about, because we had to do things and act foolish and funny and do all these things and exaggerate facial features and motions and what have you, and then create a character and then figure out who that character was and the attitude and stuff. So I ended up ordering a bowler hat, and then we all had our noses, and create a character, because we needed a nose and we needed a hat. She suggested funny or weird, not just this, right? I could have worn my baseball cap. I wear it all the time. I mean, right? But needed to break out of that. So I ended up getting a bowler hat. And then you have to walk down and interact, and at times you had to interact without words. Right? Whatever the case may be. And then when it came to the performance aspect, you had to make an introduction, do whatever you needed to do, and then you had to make a leave. So you couldn't just be like, right, just walk off. You had to come in with energy, do something, and leave sort of with energy. But you always had to make sure that you're facing the audience, right? And have them looking at you. And then when you leave, you had to make the exit, but keep eye contact, because you got to keep them into it the whole time. That was a silly one. Come the big performance, who showed up? I think there was 2 other teachers who showed up, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on your names. I think Hart Massey showed up, but somebody else I think did too. And I believe he was the teacher for the other clown classes for the other folks. Funny guy, liked him. So sorry, I'm blanking on your name if you see this. You're an awesome dude. You taught one of our classes, swap things up. Still same idea though. So, but on the big show night, I decided to do the Whistling Cafe. Didn't tell the person, because I was working the lights and the audio there, because I became the tech guy. In a lot of the cases, I was the tech guy. So within that, it was the Whistling Cafe, and I kind of had to whistle it and show the emotions, because you're not supposed to use your words. It's almost like you had to use Simlish, right? But I chose to do. Or whatever the case may be, I was singing. I could whistle a lot, right? And I was gonna do that and make it sound like, because it's a cafe, I was gonna make a whistling sound, that the coffee was ready. The music didn't work because I forgot to tell the person who was running for my sound that I muted it from last time and that he needed to unmute it. was another failure for me. And I had to do an exit and stuff, so I had to walk in. And like I was making coffee and stuff, and then make it seem like, ooh, magic coffee. But I had a McDonald's cup and I was supposed to show it and be like, fuck. They know that it wasn't like, I didn't make it, it was store-bought type of idea, and then make a quick exit. I don't think I did a great job. I did okay, but I don't think I did an amazing job. Yeah, Christel was very nice, encouraging. She picked up, she's one of the teachers who picked up that I'm stuck up here. I'm an overthinker. And she's like, stop overthinking. I'm like, I'm trying. I'm really trying. I don't want to be up here, okay? So my apologies. Let's fix this real quick. Okay, so there's that. So I struggled with that aspect, but I made it out. Ha 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 ha. Oh boy. But thank you, Christel. It was fun, and I still had to get the fuckets for that class because you're pulling me out of me. So it's tough. It's tough stuff. Producing and directing for actors 1. Simeon Ross, his class. Now, like I mentioned, I believe he was a student and then became a teacher, and there's guidelines and stuff with that. So he knew what we were all going through, what it was like. He knew the teachers in the same aspect and stuff. So it was like a student teaching the students, which was fun in that aspect. But that class, he would teach with tomfoolery involved. He was always having a good time. So if he was teaching us lights or teaching us the camera's positioning to show us what it was like, what it looks like, how cool it was, what the roles were, what they were intended for, what the whole production workout was, he was just as excited, it seemed like, as the rest of us. And then after class, he would do something silly and goofy on his social media because he's a social guy. He's a social butterfly, that man. So it was fun. That's the class where I will be linking below and maybe have footage here of work. We had to do, son of a bitch. We had to do a silent film. Since I was a tech guy, I was involved in so many people's products, production-wise. Camera guy, lighting, like what this is on right now. This is the last standing tripod because every single other one broke through 3 or 4 different productions. They broke. I'm down to 1, and this is barely standing. It's not a great one anyways, and you've seen it wobble, but down to 1. I'll be linking as many people's works as possible. I hope that's not lopsided this whole time. I'll be putting as many people's works as possible linked down below of what they did and what I did with them, blah, blah, blah. I didn't do their editing, but I'm so happy I worked with them. They are pals of mine. And I think we had a good time. We all learned new experiences. Definitely hard at first. Got easier as we learned what it took. As it should. But it was an experience. Now I'll teach you a little, or tell you a little secret. There is a restaurant nearby school called the W Burger. If you get there at a certain time, they have a happy hour. So this happy hour happened to be before this class. We had some time between classes, and I couldn't go home because it took time, so I went to W Burger. So most times I wasn't the most appropriate student that I could have been. I was rehydrating, let's say. Now, I am plenty old enough to be doing such a thing, and I kept it responsible, but it kept me looser, so it was nice. I actually really needed it a lot of the time, and it was one day a week, so I'll wrap myself out, but it was a good day. I saw those days as a fun day. Okay. Simeon, you're awesome. I still follow your Instagram posts and your goofballness. They're entertaining. And lastly, it's Voice 3 with Laurel, Paetz? I'll try to keep everybody's names written somewhere as I mention them, so you could see the spelling, so you could Google them. And I mean, it's a little late into the film to be telling you this, but you'll get it at this point. This was voice class for accents. I'll tell you now, my accent, not great. Doing some of those was plenty difficult. I mean, I could do some stuff that other people couldn't, such as rolling my R's. Some people struggled with that. I didn't, but keeping the accents going, tough. It was tough. I think she was very kind to us when she didn't need to be. I think a couple of us were let go, like, yeah, good work, and they really didn't have to. Like, Laurel was just really nice about it. I think I would have held my face in shame if she was like, Tyler, that was a shit job you did. Try not to fuck it up. It's more like this and not like this. I would have, oh man, I wouldn't have been surprised. Okay, so, but she wasn't. She was kind about it. She was very kind about it, and she didn't need to be. That was over Zoom. So a lot of that time I was at, oh, I forgot to mention there was another apartment. Yes. There was another apartment. The last apartment in term 3 I rented. So I think the hostel was the end of term 2. The apartments, this other apartment was a apartment rented to me by another student who has since left because they were done. And it was like a 6x6 room, and the roommates, drama island, I'll tell you what. And they aren't from Canada, and they couldn't handle the cold, so the heat was on a lot of the time. Who can't handle the heat? This guy. Anyways, I was there doing class in Zoom, sweating my balls off, but I couldn't be naked during Zoom. That's a no-no. That's a no-no. Anyways, that's it for classes, teachers review-ish. If there's a specific teacher or class that you're wanting to look more into, I could try to look some info into it, give you more info, whatever the case may be. Again, liked all the teachers. They all had their own thing, but couldn't say anything bad about them. I can't. Some classes I struggled more with the others. Struggled in more than the others. Holy moly. See? English, accents, struggled with. Now with the TFS thing, we had 3 different classes in our term. That's a lot. I feel like I would have been way better off if I had me and more teacher time. What I would have loved to do is run scenes with the teachers. And why I say this is because even though I'm running with the students are learning. I wanted to experience the acting from somebody with the experience. I wanted to act with the actors, like the paid before, on TV, on movies, actors. Like, I feel like that would have given me way, way, way more experience and understanding of how it should come off. I would have loved that. Would have loved that way more if the classes were smaller and I had more me and the teacher time. That's what I would have loved more. The cost for schooling apparently went up, TFS, during COVID, as everything else did, but it went from under $1,000 a month to $2,000 to $3,000 a month or something like that for school. Like that's huge difference. Again, I went after COVID, so I only know this, but to hear the difference is nuts. I've been seeing posts that they're getting upgrades in equipment. Good, TFS, you need it. Some of that equipment, your students didn't appreciate it because they wrecked your shit. So that's on the students. But it's also, I guess, on TFS to make sure the equipment is fully operational. I think we had cameras that were like straight busted. So that was unfortunate. What else? Housing. TFS doesn't have housing, which I would love to see the school actually get a hold of, so they could work together with student fees. Because if you put housing at the school with the student fees that we pay and get our schooling from, then I wouldn't have to worry about housing and losing housing. I could work it all into the OSAP or the Manitoba Student Aid that I had, or whatever the case was. Could have worked that in. Would have been way more in my budget, and I wouldn't have to have chumped around 4 or 5 different places just to survive and worry about housing and living while I'm in school. You know what I mean? So TFS, maybe look into that a little bit more. Again, I say all this looking to still go and finish school. So I still want to do TFS and finish the next 3 terms, but you know, it's not golden roses the whole time. It's not golden roses the whole time. Like, let's be real. There's some structural issues in the foundation of TFS. Not to pull anybody away from not going, but these are my gripes and issues, I guess. I mean, I just talked highly of the classes and the teachers, which basically makes the school. Might as well tell you some of the rougher bits. What else? I think that's it for TFS. Could use more student help from the school, because I felt like the school was like, come, enjoy the teachers, you're on your own. Oh, school and teacher communication. Sometimes it felt like the teachers in the school were on 2 different grounds. Like, sometimes it felt like the teachers had no clue what the school was doing, which was weird. But sure, this has been mentioned. I'm sure they're gonna figure it out. It's none of my business. Okay, I think I have 2 more topics to talk about. I mean, it's an hour and a half long already, so what am I doing since leaving TFS? So I got out of TFS January, February, March. In April. End of March was the end of term 3. So I've been out of TFS since April. Didn't work for the first month of April. I was stressed. I was worried, trying to calm down. Then I got a job. Haha. So right now, I go to work Monday to Friday, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day at a place where I basically weld parts for cars. It pays well. It's not very labor inducive for my injuries and my pain, so that's nice. And it pays equal to not more than my job when I was in Winnipeg after 12 years. So I don't mind this job, but I am working my ass off to try to pay off debt, build savings, and get back to and finish school. I'll tell you, it's not going well. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. This is the part where I tell you I might not be able to go back to school because the money is just not there. And what the fuck am I going to do when I'm in school? People are like, get a part-time job. Do you know how much they pay and how much I'm expected to pay? They don't equal out. I don't have the bank of mom and dad. I'm too old for that. And even if I wasn't, they probably couldn't have. So I'd be SOL. Like, I don't understand how this is supposed to work if I'm trying to. In any case, I am back living with my brother and my nephew and the rest of the house, and brother, his other half, and the kids. And that's basically all I'm doing. Smaller city, smaller town, I don't know what you want to call it. I like this park. It's cool, the trees are huge, it's shaded, and I never see anybody here. There's squirrels running around me all the time. It's just one of the places I found on my walk. It's not far from where I'm at. Of course, there's the road there where people driving motorcycles, having large mufflers and being a ruckus, but hey, it ain't bad. So right now, trying to work on getting back to school, making these videos, the Faces of Horror, the Face of Horror contest, and gaming. It's all I got going on right now, and trying not to lose my mind and trying to get my life back in order. I'm filled to the brim with high anxiety all the time. I'm working on the Depresso Espresso. I don't want to hate myself, so I'm working not with a professional, although I'm going to go to a therapist or something to get tested for ADHD, the TISM, to talk about my anxiety and my depression, which may have all be tied together. So I'm trying to get through that, trying to better me. I don't want to put myself on other people. I don't want them to be bummed because I'm bummed. So trying to be a better friend, better brother, better son, better student, better actor. Trying to feel what it was like to be happy or more carefree, because right now it's a mystery. Okay, but let's move on to my last topic. I have to talk about ideas and goals, apparently. Ideas and goals, it's basically make videos, maybe make more YouTube, maybe make actual videos that I can act in. I would love to do an idea for a silent film. I would love to go work and go see my friends back in Toronto and do some videos with them. They've asked if I'd be down. I'm like, yes, yeah, I'm down for everything. I'm just so far away, and it's crippling because I can't keep my acting going if I can't do it. And to do lines like monologues and scripts and stuff, that's okay. But if it's not being utilized, it feels pointless. And I need more of a guide. I need a coach. I need a teacher. I need somebody to aim me to in a direction, or help me aimed in a direction that will be conducive to acting, and to tell me like, that's it. That's what you're supposed to be doing. So I'm gonna be working on that. But while I'm out here, maybe I'll make some scripts, movies. I got this phone strictly because of the camera quality. I'm got some tools and stuff, like the mic you're hearing me is not the phone mic, it's a boom mic. I also got a light on it. I'm learning video editing to hopefully make this look pretty, be it audio editing or the picture. Learning all that, learning to break out of my shell, try to do something. I'm trying to be more, you know? Yeah, basically it's scripts and ideas. I'm a horror guy. Came out here to do acting, to do horror movies. I'm not looking to be the next top actor, like the best of the best, because I'm not sure what that even takes or what that even is supposed to be. But if I could be the guy that people think about when they think about horror movies, Halloween, spooky stuff, then I've at least reached a goal that I've been striving for. What brought me out here was my years of being a haunt actor. What got me into acting and entertainment is my overactive imagination, but also watching horror movies with my buddies. Wrestling, which is basically acting in certain circumstances. Like, I can't waste this time. I only got so much time. I'm getting older. I need to make progress. So step one, get this out. Recorded, edited, uploaded, shared. Now I kind of cheated because I'm making this as one long video with mild editing, but it needed to be done, and this is the only way I could do it. And this is longer than a movie, so I hope it was good enough. I think this is it. I think I'm done. I think I made the update video. Thank you for watching if you made it this far. It's a long video. Teachers, if you saw this, I hope it was okay. For the parts that I talked about you, if you did see this, hope it was okay. Some were shorter, some were longer, some had more to talk about. I have a scattered brain. ADHD is a villain. Or a miracle, or a gift. But when I'm trying to make points and talk about certain topics, it kind of goes like that. I get distracted. Noise, lots of noise in my head, all times. So, ooh, thanks guys. Just like, subscribe, comment, questions, message me on all my medias. Let me know. Thank you.